Hey guys, Tim's back here, TNTRC Nuts here, and Ms. TNTRC Nuts. It's time to put on some lettering. I'm going to go through a little tutorial on how I laid out the lettering, how I got it to where I want on the wing. The last video I showed you how to cut out lettering, and an easy way to do that. Here's my lettering that I have here now, falling all over the place. But as you can see, I have all my letters cut out. Let me grab this one. Let me get them in kind of in the right order here. Depending on your logos and how you want to lay them out and spread them out over the wing is how you need to decide, what's going on. With the Futaba logo, the F and the U and the T are all contacting each other on the logos. That's the way their official logo is. But what I did is I got my lettering size that I wished. I got them cut out like explained in the last video. And basically all I'm going to do is just lay them out and see where I want to go on the wing with it. To set up how I wanted to do on the wing, what I did is I laid the wing out like this on each side with the lettering without ironing them down, and then looked from behind the airplane and just seen what I wanted. And then once I was happy with that, I made some measurements. I used this line here off the blue as my starting place. Measure from here to the top of the U, and I had a certain measurement, so I made that same measurement all the way down. But once I had my lettering laid out like this, the next step I did is, let me hand these back to her. But the next step, made my measurement back, and I took a real fine, this got a really sharp point on it. Took a permanent marker and made just barely a little mark here on each side, top and bottom of my letterings. This one here worked out to 1 3/8 back, 1 3/8 back, and then 4 3/8 to the bottom of the letter. So I made my marks, and what it is, I took some fine line tape, or you can use masking tape, painter's tape, whatever. You don't want to use anything really high tacky on this Monokote because you don't want it to rip the Monokote when you pull the tape up. And then I also did the same thing and figured out how far I wanted the lettering from the end. Now, the other wing panel is done. It's already permanently mounted on. It's already ironed on and everything. I wasn't going to show you how to do both sides, but this tutorial here is how to lay it out, getting your covering down bubbleless, ways to do that. I'm going to go through quite a few steps on things. Now, the first and foremost thing you want to do is make sure your hands have no oils on them. And let me get my bottle here. What I have here is this regular spray bottle, alcohol in it. Just give your hands a good clean. And if I can find my shop rag here, that's very clean. And yeah, you just want to clean your hands off real good. Get all that skin oil off. Because skin oils, some people say it don't. I say it does. I've been into this stuff for 32 years. Skin oils get on the back of that covering, it can cause bubbling. You don't want that. I mean, you do want to make it look like you're doing somewhat of a decent job. But also what you want to do is inside where you're going to put your lettering at, you want to clean that with alcohol too. But you don't want to clean that with the same rag that you clean your hands with. You want to use a soft cloth so you don't scuff up the covering. And then once you clean it, just try not to handle that area too much. Just get it all dried off and polished really nicely, just like that. Iron's already warming up. But the left wing has already been done, so the lettering's laid down. It was easy to start with the Futaba from the wingtip in. Now I got to kind of think backwards on this process. Now, one of the other things you're going to need is, let me grab some lettering again. The F, U, and T on Futaba are attached. So they're easy to get the spacing between your letters. Because these two corners touch, there's your spacing. And let me hunt down the T here. The same thing happens with the T, it touches the U. If you look at any Futaba logo, you'll have that spacing. But what I did is I measured that space, and then I took a piece of painter's tape and just cut it to the width of that spacing so I can use that as a spacer all the way down to get my lettering spread out just the right way. But like I said, I make my marks and I take my tape, just take your tape, lay it down on your marks. Nice and straight. You don't have to tape down real hard, just enough to where it's touching the covering, that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off, we got to go from the wingtip out. We're going to line the bottom corner of this A right in there. I'm going to make sure it's lined up on that tape in the bottom. I'm happy with top placement. At this point, you do not iron it completely down, and I'll tell you why. If you have to make an adjustment to any of these letters after you put them on, you can do that. Now, that's just barely a tack on there. It's just enough to get that glue to activate just a little bit to hold that letter in place. Excuse me. But then you're going to go to your next letter and do the same thing. Now here's where the spacer comes in handy, because you need to get that spacer down and then get them letters to the right width so it all looks nice and uniform. Now Futaba's logo, the A is short, the bottom part of the A is longer, so you want your spacing off of the bottom part of the A to the next letter. And you're just going to do the same thing. You're just going to line up here on your letter, line here on your letter, and just tack it. You just want to kind of hold the covering in place and just put a tack, just like that. 2-3 spots, enough to keep it down. When the letter has to extend above your tape, do not tack anywhere but between the two lines of tape. That's the only place you'll tack down this covering. So now we're going to move on. You'll see why here in a few minutes, why that's the only place to do that. Let's go ahead and get this spacer moved. We're going to lay down a spacer, just enough to hold it in place. Now the next letter we need is another A. This one's easy to line up. I got to keep jumping around. It's hard to do from the top side. I'm used to the bottom side, so it's always easier when you're looking at something straight on. I'm happy with that placement right there. Tack that, put one right up here. Just a little tack in place, that's all you need. Now we're going to move our spacer again. Now don't pull that spacer up real fast, you don't want to tear your covering. Now this one here is just alignment. You just want a consistent thickness right here in your A's. Or any lettering if you do, actually. The next letter we need now is the T. Now I'm just going to go ahead and jump on the other side and add the lettering as we go. I'm going to keep checking to see if you can see what I'm doing. There's that one. Now if I can get tack on here, maybe one there, just a small tack, just enough to hold that letter in place. Now, like I said, the U and the T and the F are all attached letters. So what you're going to do is you're going to line that up, and you're going to move that U to where it just touches that point of the T right there. You're going to look at your bottom, make sure it's lined up on that tape. And take your time putting your tape down too. That's going to give you a nice straight line. But you're going to put it down just like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's my right hand. That worked there. Now see, I moved the covering just a little bit. And now if you notice, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little slight wrinkle there. But being just tacked on there, you're able to take the letter and just move it. Let it relax back into where it needs to be. So what I'll do is I'll get it placed where I want it again. Put a tack. Then I can tack it here. And go ahead and tack it there. And then of course the last letter we got to put on is the F. Now this is the reason you measure down to certain points of your letterings. That looks perfect there. Now we want to tack this one here, maybe here, maybe here. And don't take a lot of ironing to tack it. If you notice, I'm just using a quick touch. That's all there is to tacking it on. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what her and I make jokes about. We call it shop and compare. Move this out of the way. Now, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to turn the plane to where I can look at both wings simultaneously, and I'm going to judge it from eyeballs look. And yes, I am satisfied with the way that looks. And she is pointing out that the F is above the line, but let's get this back in here. She's pointing out over here, no, she's afraid to talk to me. The F is not above the line, accidentally. It's supposed to be that way because these two corners of the F and U touch. The F is the tallest letter, and it's as tall as the B. So that's what she was pointing out. She thought there was something wrong. Well, there's not. But I do need to move the F down just a little bit so the corners touch. And now I'm going to have to readjust just a little bit on the F because I did notice that. Now if you notice the tacks, they just free right up. Once you get it adjusted, then all you got to do is just tack it again, tack it again, tack it again. You'll know your tack is good because Monokote and most of your other colors are notorious. Once heat's applied to it, it darkens. But you obviously don't want to take your iron and hold it down there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because that can super shrink your covering. It'll really deform your lettering and stuff. You don't want that. But now, since we have a satisfaction on what we want with these letters, we're going to go back and double check to see if we like everything. And then we're going to start off by putting a couple more tacks on some of these letters, like this A, just to make sure they don't move out of place. Because now we're going to be peeling the tape up. Draw that over a little. Put one there on a T. We already did 4 on the U. Now, all we have to do, just not real hard, but just slowly start peeling this tape. Now if you watch, this is why you don't put a tack above your tape. See that? It just comes right out from underneath that covering. And once it's out from underneath that covering, now the F is going to be a different story because it's short. Now, just in case you're having to do other things, you want to take this tape. Now if you want to throw it away or whatever, that's fine, but people have to remember one of the things about these videos is tips, tricks, how-tos, and time savers. And I've emphasized my other videos on how to save money. Just being wasteful is not saving money. I've used these same 3 pieces of tape for both sides of the wing. I also use these pieces of tape on the sides of the fuselage. So, I just keep a clean spot on my bench, just clean block all where I can lightly tack the tape back down, and then when I need it, I have it. But once this project's done, then I won't need the tape anymore, I can get rid of it. But fine line tape is not cheap by any means, and you don't want to just go wasting it. Any tape for as far as that goes. Okay, now, I wanted to get to the next part of this video now. How do you get this thing down bubbleless? I use numerous methods. I've been doing this for so many years, I can tell you 100 ways of doing it. Really, the only best way to get it to go down bubbleless is take your time. You don't want to just put your iron down and go across. That's going to bubble the living crap out of it. You want to start on one side, get that iron applied, and what I do is I use the point and I just slowly go back and forth, just like that. Just like that. All in the while, just slowly, slowly, slowly moving the iron down the ladder. Just take your time, go slow. Use a higher heat than normal because that'll help push the covering out. But just like that. Now, there is little tiny bubbles in there for me. You know, I'm not real concerned about this airplane. It's not a high dollar airplane. It's just something I've been putting together to take out and fly. But, you know, I've seen an opportunity to where this would be a great example for getting people some videos out there, you know, on YouTube that you just don't see. You know, the tips and tricks and, you know, how-tos are out there, but I'm just going to be honest with you. You just really don't grasp the concept of these airplanes as far as dollar-wise are concerned until you go out and pay for it. And there you go. Now you just kind of feel over the and there's a little piece right there. Now once you're all done, if you want to, you can go over and get a heat off. Yeah, just like that, heat it down. But very minimal bubbling that way. Now I'm going to show you another method that I use, and it involves a little bit more work. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack this edge of the V right there. Now that's all I'm going to do to the V. Now, if I lift that up, it'll go back in place. But now we're going to take our marker and we're going to mark. Just kind of haze yourself an outline of where the letter is, just like this. Very, very fine point. You know, it don't have to be perfect. Now, this is where you can have a little bit of fun. I set it up here by my camera. I have here this regular household straight pin. I'll have her hold back this covering, and I want to look in the video to see if you can see this. Let me see if you can see where that lettering is. Yeah, I think you can see that. I'll zoom in here for a moment so maybe you can get that back on there a little bit. But you can see the outlining of that letter. Now here's where the straight pin comes in handy. This is another method you could use. You can just literally take this straight pin and anywhere inside of that letter, just bullet hole the crap out of it. Stab it right through that cover. Just like you see right there. No particular pattern, no particular way to do it, just get holes in it. I used to have a thing I called my jailhouse tattoo gun. I plug it into a battery and I literally could use it just like a tattoo gun. I would sit there and just vibrate the pin up and down. And just the key factor here is you just don't want to leave big areas. You want to try to get it all about consistent. And this also does allow you to put down the covering far less bubbleless. Far, far less. Let's get some more close to this edge here. But as long as your pinholes do not go outside of that line you created, you're fine. And then now I'm going to put that letter down, and you can see from my technique, when I go to put this letter down now, I'm just more reckless at it. I'm able to take a longer stroke and just get that letter to pop right down into the wing. Now mind you, you still have to be careful to keep your letter straight. You don't want to over apply heat, under apply heat. You know. Now there's a bubble that did show up right there, but it leaked right out of one of them holes. And then once we get over the rib here, we're just going to go ahead and do this half of the bead. It just allows that air to escape right out. It does give you a much more bubbleless finish. Now, even though I drew on that with a permanent marker, getting that marker back off is going to be no problem. People hear permanent marker, they start freaking out. I'm going to try to zoom in on that. I doubt if you can see the bubble, but it's almost virtually bubbleless. You don't even see the pinholes underneath. But that's the other technique. And then you just keep doing so on down the wing, and then next thing you know, you have an airplane. At least if I can get both wing shots in here. And get you the other side. Looks like the vertical's in the way, but so I can turn that a little bit for you. But you can see the lettering on both sides, you know. But that's the technique I use for doing lettering, and done it that way for years, and I'll continue to do so because it's always worked for me. Now some people, you know, they would just say, oh, I want the vinyl cut lettering, but you know, if you don't have the money for it, you know, you have to save up money or something, that's fine. But essentially, this hobby is about creativity in my book. I've done vinyl cut lettering, I'm not going to lie to you. But I would much rather put lettering stuff down this way because it keeps the skill into what you do in these airplanes. But there you go. That's how you get your lettering down. We'll see y'all next time.